It's been 3 months since the Freedom Convoy and rally in our nation's capital, and there are two Calgarians who spent their time in Ottawa digitally documenting the events during that time. It's been made into a documentary, and the creators of that film, Jeremy Regoto and Andrew Peloso, join me from Calgary to talk about their experiences in Ottawa and what people can expect from the film. Jeremy and Andrew, thanks so much for joining me today. Pleased to meet you.
It's pleased to meet you too. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.
So thinking back to your February 2022 Freedom Rally experience, was it your intent to document the whole convoy and rally?
So yeah, originally it was our intent to document the rally, but it was we definitely got more than what we were expecting. Andrew called me pretty much the night before the convoy was going to start, and he said, "Hey, I got word of this group of trucks that's going to be driving across the country. Do you want to maybe film it? It could be pretty cinematic." I said, "Sure. Like, I guess I'm pretty busy, but okay, let's go ahead and film this thing." And it exploded. It became way bigger than either of us could have ever imagined. And it wasn't just us that filmed it. We ended up putting up a WeTransfer link, and all of Canada was sending us their footage from this event happening right across the country, right across the world. Actually, it was happening all over the world. So it was always our intent, but we definitely got a whole lot more than we were asking for.
Yeah, it was definitely big news all over the world. Andrew, Jeremy mentioned that you reached out to him. Now, are you guys documentarians by trade, or what was the motive for doing this and for going there?
Yeah, we're both in the media and marketing industry. Prior to this, I'd been working on a documentary on cancel culture for about 3 years, and it's set to release this fall. However, I was taking a break. I was on vacation. It was my father who sent me this link about this bear hug, this convoy across Canada. And I just thought the prospect of that amount of vehicles on the road converging in on a city was probably a sight to behold, but I had no idea what we were planned for. Jeremy, we're business partners, and I called him really late at night and said, "Man, I think we need to go do this thing. What do you say?" And he was gracious enough to uproot his entire schedule, and we drove in this SUV together, and we just started documenting. The first day, we were coding a website in the car to show that we're going to make this film. And by the time we had launched it, we were getting 60,000 hits a day across Canada, with people uploading cell footage from different overpasses all over. So there was a real sense of camaraderie and of Canadian spirit all the way through the trail.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular to watch. Now, did you actually drive to Ottawa with the convoy?
Yeah, that's correct. We did drive with the convoy all the way to Ottawa. We were following some of the organizers of the convoy. We were in and out of their vehicles. We were in and out of truckers' vehicles, doing interviews as we were driving across the country, trying to get ahead of the convoy, putting up drones, trying to capture that. It was days full. It was 23-hour days for a week straight as we drove across the country in pretty remarkable winter Canadian road conditions. So it was an adventure, to say the least.
Unbelievable. That sounds like a lot of hard work. So what was your initial reaction when you first arrived in Ottawa?
Well, first initial reaction was we didn't know the evening prior to the beginning of the demonstration if we were even going to get into the city. There was so much, I guess, misinformation. It felt like people as well were a little paranoid because no one's getting sleep on the road. We thought potentially the military could be blockading Ottawa and we wouldn't be able to get in, but we were able to get in. My impression would be that, there's going to be a bunch of trucks down near Wellington Street, right by the Parliament. But I didn't realize the amount of foot traffic and amount of people that came into Ottawa for that first weekend. It felt, I don't have a final number, but it really felt like the population of Ottawa had doubled. And it was really beautiful because the heart of this movement, capturing it during the early days before we saw any government action, it was really just based around freedom and everyone's personal choice to make decisions for themselves and their family that they believe are decisions of conscience. And that was quite beautiful to see. It certainly gave me hope.
Now, you mentioned, of course, you're talking about the beauty of people coming together, but of course, there were a lot of points of contention with this convoy as well. And I guess the impact of that the convoy maybe had on the citizens of Ottawa. So what were your recollections of the interactions with locals while you were there?
Honestly, the truth is that we tried to find people that were upset about the Freedom Convoy being there. And there were a lot of people that were coming down to the like Wellington Street just to see what was going on because they were hearing about things on the news and in general, I would say the majority of people came down expecting to be upset. Of Ottawa citizens came down expecting to be upset, and then realized what was actually going on. That the streets were clean, that there were bouncy castles, that it was like a parade. It was a celebration for Canada. It was like Canada Day on steroids. And then they were coming down every single opportunity they had. After work, they'd come down. They give out food, they give out cash, they try to their best to encourage. We tried to get as many people on camera as possible talking about their experiences, as many Ottawa citizens as possible talking about their experiences. We did get a few, but for the most part, people were afraid to talk on camera. Not because they were afraid to share their feelings, but because they were afraid of who might see it, whether their employer might see it or their family members might see it, or like people are genuinely afraid of what's going on right now and afraid for their own security, afraid for their own employment. And that's honestly one of the reasons why we are doing what we're doing, is because we have to normalize and chase away this fear of a difference of opinion and freedom of thought and speech. So that's the honest truth, is we were looking very hard for people that were upset. There were a few people that we talked to that said like it was pretty noisy the first couple of days, but then the truck stopped honking and we didn't really even notice. We asked people if they were having difficulty getting around downtown. And sure, there were a couple streets that were had a lot of vehicles on them, but not one street was completely blocked off. There was always a lane open for emergency vehicles or for travel. We drove in and out of downtown quite a bit. We had no issues. Google was really accurate. There was no extension in time getting around. So that's the honest truth, is there was nobody that we encountered that was over the top upset. There were a couple anti-protesters that we saw with signs and stuff like that. We tried to get interviews. Those people wouldn't talk on camera, which is unfortunate. But we did get a little bit. So we're excited to get into those chapters later on in the series and share their stories also.
Okay, so that part of it is included in your documentary as well?
Yeah, we're focused on a story of Canada that's unbiased and for everyone. We are not trying to make media that encourage viewers to think any which way. We're just trying to say that this happened. We were able to document so much of the movement, and we feel all Canadians, regardless of their view, need to know what happened in Ottawa for those 33 days.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically what you're trying to accomplish with this documentary.
You bet.
Okay, what's the name of the film?
So it's a docu-series. We decided to put it out as a docu-series because of the release schedule time. We didn't want to stay in editorial for a year and release it towards 2023. So it's a 6-part mini-series called Trucking for Freedom, and the website is truckingforfreedom.com. That's free to view for anyone. It's free to download for everyone, and you can post it anywhere. So we really received our mandate from the Canadian people, and we had people purchasing film credits where that's funding this production. And so as a result, we're able to give that and distribute it for free.
Okay, what are you hoping that viewers will take away from watching it?
honestly, we're hoping that we can somewhat neutralize the extremes that we're experiencing in our society right now. You're either really right or you're really left, or you're one extreme or you're another extreme, and we feel like the society has done a half decent job at polarizing us and putting us at ends. Our call to the people watching this film is that we can come back to a middle ground where people can feel unified as citizens of Canada, as people of the world, and have hope that we can live in a society where we are free to disagree and still love each other. That's our hope for people that are watching this film.
Wow. And did you mention that chapter 1, you've already got that completed?
Yeah, we released chapter 1 this Sunday. Since releasing, it's been only a couple days, and we're getting close to over 3 million minutes streamed on our website, just organically. We haven't advertised this at all. So it's very evident that Canada, you can just see the map lighting up with different people and IP addresses watching this film. So we released Saturday the first chapter, which is how we got here, which served as a bit of a chronology of the last 2 years of policy and social implications and impacts of lockdowns that served as the fuel that caused this freedom convoy and respective movement to develop.
So far, what have been the reactions from people who have seen chapter 1?
Oh, we've had nothing but positive feedback, honestly. We've been crawling social media. We've been, you should see our inbox. Our inbox is completely lit up. I haven't seen one negative response to what we put out there. And people are sharing it like wildfire. There's yes, absolutely that 3 million minutes that are viewed on our website, but the way that we posted this with that download feature, we were having different groups having live watch parties and streaming the show, and they have been for the past 3 days. So the amount of people that must have seen this already is huge, staggering numbers, more than we ever imagined when we first left Calgary and joined this convoy. So it's pretty remarkable.
Wow, that's actually really impressive. Now, I'm just curious, how involved was the rest of your family during the making of this film or during the time that you were gone? Did you have their support or were they against it?
Yeah, it's I guess I can answer first, but Jer has to answer that too. My family has been supportive. They believe that, all Canadians should be able to freely travel and socialize and assemble regardless of medical status or what our federal government thinks. And so they're quite supportive of this project. A family as well, and friends that are supportive of this, regardless of their medical status, right? Because I think it gets at something way deeper than what some of the legacy media would like us all to believe. This is not a conversation about medicine. This is more of a conversation about freedom, and I think the majority of Canadians can all get behind wanting a free society. But Jeremy, over to you, man.
Yeah, my family's been incredibly supportive the whole time. All the way from the very first week when we uprooted our lives, they were taking on responsibilities that I had at home, and they aided with financially right off the bat with keeping this team on the road. They've always been supportive with anything that I've tried to do, but this especially, they feel like it's so incredibly important. And I have full support from my immediate family, extended family. There's some extended family that I would say I would go as far as some people even being disappointed with what we're doing. But that again is why we have to do this. Is to bring people back to a center ground where we can be a unified Canada again.
Interesting. Fantastic. It looks like we are out of time, but we could go on talking about this all day because it's such an interesting topic. But Jeremy and Andrew, thanks so much for joining me today. Really appreciate having you on.
Well, thank you so much, Jeanette.
Thank you.
That was Jeremy Regoto and Andrew Peloso, the creators of the Trucking for Freedom documentary. They are joining me from Calgary.